Okay, this is me, Daniel-James, and we have a fun little one here. So, different setup and putting the vibes in, even though it looks like a full-blown Christmas mess behind me. It really is something to consider. And if you're not watching this during this time of the year, I get it, no big deal. We're just gonna swing in the vibe here and talk about all kinds of what's been working, what's marketing doing, what are some of the clients doing, what are the best books that came out this year, some pivotal things that really made things better for our agency, for our clients, dealing with stressful situations where, yeah, we had scammers trying to infiltrate clients, which is normal. And I think we will turn down the vibes on the music for sure and switch gears as we get into this. So thanks for tuning in. We'll talk about AI slop. We'll talk about the mess that has created, but also how do you use the 80-20, so 80% human and 20% technology or AI. And I'm getting kind of hot with this thing anyway. So a lot of us felt like we had to wear a lot of hats. So for those of you, you got a little bit of a Hawaiian style, and the team and freelancers and people, just so that you guys know, I have a web and marketing company, and we work with automotive, manufacturing, all those kinds of people sometimes. And what we're pivoting to a lot of is mentoring, teaching people what we have rolling and, how they can do things better, as well as just internal and then aspiring clients. And then there's a little bit of like what I did this year with, let's say, blood donating, but also just blood work in general, and some things that led to. Like, I already had a pretty decent health regimen, and so I was fully optimized for that, especially having a family and things like that. So let's jump into it. Let's talk about all these things. There's also what's been going on in the AI space, like this silly kitten. I know I have to wear it. Grab your hot chocolate and settle in, and let's go on the ride. But yeah, for those of you, I am Daniël-James with the Money Brew Show. This is DJM.Design, is our web company, and I'm going to start to kind of just jump into the pieces of the puzzle here. So first of all, let's pull this one up. Just hide this piece here, and then we have this. So I just want to move this over for us to see easier, and for you guys at home to have a good experience. So let's jump over there. Perfecto mundo. So moving on from the fireplaceness, best vacation little trip that we had. Now, our family doesn't do a ton of these, but we did go to Arizona, and I will classify it as one of the best. We did this little hike, and it was just phenomenal. Just phenomenal. There's more of the family there, and this is one thing I really am stoked about with the clients, is everyone is super supportive of family. That has to stay that way. It has to stay the same. We cannot lose that aspect, right? We've got to stay on that with everyone and everything that we're doing. Definitely a life hack here that I noticed was the time blocking on my calendar. Now, I'm not going to show it on the screen, but like if you look up there, it's just a lot of boxes. So you have like, and I got this from the Traction book. Over here, looks like this. Whoop. There we go, Traction book. And just put that back up here. Basically, running the team on a very scheduled manner and seeing what everyone's doing at that specific time, letting clients know realistic expectations, and then working on new prospects and things like that, and kind of mentoring them through that process. So there's a little family. A lot of clients end up, the reason they come to us is because they feel like this, like, oh, there, this is happening here, that's happening there, buttons everywhere, these things are broken. Most of the case, the reality is, yes, we feel the same. So we're also like, okay, how do we break this? How do we fix this? How do we take it apart? And then what's the revenue model behind it? The numbers don't lie. And we've had competitors come in and, they try to they try to smoke us in a very weird way, but for us it's longevity. So if you think about websites and you have to restart a website, you lose all that traction if you don't do it the right way. And they'll say they do it the right way, but they really don't. And so in this economy and in this type of strategy, you got to be slightly more on your feet and on your toes to let clients know what they have. And that is like one of the most crucial things, is like once we've built a system, and I'll show you a little bit more about it later down in this video, then can you crank certain areas and talk more about revenue models throughout, and become like, you know, expert in vendor type relationships, and tools and tool stacks, like how do we stack those. So if anything, what we're seeing that companies, and like my own, are evaluating tool sets and then bringing them to other companies to test out, to try out, to optimize, and to play with. And so yeah, just like your body, which this is the first resource. If you've heard of Superpower, you and your team and anyone on there, it's worth taking a look into. So for like $200, it tells you the things you can optimize in your health. So sure, your technology could run, but it's still 80-20. You still have humans on the other side needing to be healthy, needing to do the right things. So we don't let that slip, right? Instantly, I changed a couple of habits. Like I used to fast for too long in the morning, fast in America, you know, but we changed that, and that way I could increase other pieces of my life and make those things work for what I was doing. So that's a nice little life hack. I'll put a link in the description if you guys want to check it out. Seriously, I'm not trying to shill it or anything, but it led me to like my physical, my annual physical, and one of these breakthrough moments. So a big shout out to Colin. He approached me and he said, you know, can we do some marketing? And we did. So he's a trainer, and he was getting about 5 to 10 leads a week, which was through a very specific Facebook strategy and Instagram strategy, not something you could do on your own. And I'm seeing less and less companies try to do stuff on their own. They really need a powerhouse like DJM to come in and do that. So big shout out to you. He just told me, hey, like he gave me advice. He's training someone in the family, so that helps a lot as well. And so it made sense. Now, best books this year, best marketing. I'm gonna get right into it because I think I have it in here. Let's see. I think I put it back here. Oh, there it is. So one of the best marketing's launches we did was for a pet store, and you know, it's like a space we don't always market in. But what we had done was we had found that these local leads, they were getting about 30 or 40 a month, and they were guaranteed. Some of them were not charged, some charged. And the strategy really relies on finding the gap through the noise. So like right now we have so much hitting us on all the scrolling and all that stuff, but then there's like these small gaps of where we're going to find the journey for the client. So like LinkedIn has a specific journey and things like that. Even so, to the point, like I went and got, for this example with the team, I went and got, and I'll talk about this in a second, user generated content. So I got a microphone that plugs into my phone, and then we can quickly whip up some content, get it out there, and you know, filter it back into an AI social poster, which is what we use, and we allow clients to use as well. We tell them like what software we use if they need to know. And you know, it really just takes like 10 pictures, 15 descriptions, and we work those up and then get it out there if your industry allows for it. So that is part of what's new and what's happening with the marketing in front of us. So you really can dive really deep into this aspect. Then you have these find the pain point moments. So some clients don't realize like there's really 3 pillars, and I'm going to run through this part really quick. You're either on the really nice organic side and you're mustering up sales by yourself, and the website's like a brochure to your business, and we're bringing peace of mind. That is what's changed a lot. So there's so many fly-by-nights. There's people who will show up and promise you the world, but then they just disconnect so many of the important pieces. So we don't want to do that. We want to give the benefits, right? And then we want to optimize for the thing that the client needs the most. So if that is leads, sometimes a strategy will not work, but it usually takes 4 months to a year. 4 months for the algorithm, because the first month you're just learning and growing and putting the sweat equity into the campaign that you're building to see what's going to crack. Then you take that piece and we make it better. And it sounds simple, but it really is not simple. Then after, because the building of the campaign itself is so much work. So in this account, for example, we're growing 25% month over month. We identified some of the key issues, and that's what I want to encourage you to do as well. Like, we will find the audits, and we're usually working with accounts that are like, 2,500 on marketing. It's all in one place. It's a very different spot. But in the same time, we've built so many of these blueprints that I've showed you guys in the past, that we're saving them now, and we're looking at those revenue models. And like, this was a free event, going through opportunity and then coming back. So we can't always implement this, and sometimes clients can't do it themselves with the internal team, but we are seeing them send us their internal team, and then we have meetings and discussions like, okay, let's learn how to do this. It's going to cost this for consulting. We will come in and do that for you, and you have a full-fledged marketing strategy that's rolling, or we can offer you the blueprint to purchase. So that's what's changing. So what's changing in our pace of business. Best book was Greatness. What a book. Holy macaroni. This book is like, look at that. It's $100 book, and it just comes like this. We met the speaker. My wife's on the Pray NoCo board, which is a big event where like 750 people show up. They do sponsors and things like that. My wife does a lot of the marketing. So she does the vendors and the calls and stuff like that. She's taken on the legacy from her grandfather, which is pretty remarkable and fun, super fun. She gets to do these fun, cool things. And if you don't know her, she's so good at what she does. She's in insurance, and yeah, we're not perfect people by any means, but she works hard. She is in the insurance space, so if people are like 65 plus, and she does annuities as well. But the biggest takeaway was this over here. So see it, feel it, trust it, which is just, the motion, what your skill set is in your business, right? We're not we're influential. We have content and workshopping, and we know technology, and we find those gaps in there, and we place people either through the consulting, workshopping, or actual doing the work, which is like a peace of mind every month for customers who are not in that. They don't really fully understand that. We do like work to defaults, and they miss out on kind of the 5% growth every month. And it's like, oh, I don't see the growth, but you're paying for the safety of the system. So just remember that it's all in what the spend is and what you're doing. So it's a great gift book, great book to have on your table and your desk. He also wrote the 7 days and the links in Utopia, which comes back to that concept of like, this golfer was on a bad rope, a bad run, basically. Snaps his club, finds his way back through a ranch golf, basically retreat, not even a retreat, just like a place. And this guy comes and mentors him. And so mentoring, like, I have like 3 really awesome key mentor people that keep us on that track, so we don't pinball out, because it happens. You pinball, and you need to have more clout with whoever's on your, let's say, advocacy board. Everyone needs that, or a place to bounce ideas off. Beyond family, beyond friends, it has to be someone who's done it before. They've been in your shoes, and they can do it better than you can. So yeah, so choose that. Wow, there were so many things I learned. Like we had we got a new office space. We pushed the team to kind of hone in on individual things. Most clients were, steady Eddie. There was like, you get adjustments as you go, you fix errors, you monitor, and you do those kinds of things. Google Maps, vibe coding has been a big piece as well this year, which, just think of it like this, it's an experimental piece of creating. But we're seeing something. What we're seeing is a little disconcerting and exciting at the same time. AI loops. So it starts to know you, it starts to understand who you are, kind of, and then it'll feed you back like your preference. But it's still dangerous. Like, we don't even put in too much important information with the certain platforms. I can tell you right now, like, we are enjoying Gemini the most. Claude is really good. ChatGPT, there's some issues, so we'll talk about that. It's still usable, but there's definitely some red flags. And so when your team is utilizing technology, be hyper focused on, like, if it's already working, cool, like, let's optimize the working process and let's divest our time correctly. So moving on from that, we had an amazing podcast session with these guys, and you just got to do some family things as well. I don't post too much about family online. You guys will see that, just for the pure thing of being private. And it looks like you have this amazing life, and it's just, we all have, like, I have to clean diapers, I have to do dishes, like, there's so much that happened this year where there was just like fires that had to be put out. And as fun as they are, some of them could have been like totally avoided, and clients don't even hear about half the things that happen. But thank you so much for the efforts and the funds that have gotten us this far. So without rambling, I'm going to go over to how search has changed. So yes, search has changed. However, what agencies aren't saying is SEO and AI SEO are still the same. So your SEO is still going to get you up to those ranks with ChatGPT and things like that. And that's what we found with our little software, WebGet AI. It still works the same. Then we had this, which was a fun announcement. And it was probably, I think it's been the favorite podcast that's going to come out now in this next little bit. So go check it out. She does a bunch of content and safety training for oil and gas people, and I've learned a lot from her journey. So you guys can go check this event out, DJM.Design/oil, and learn more about this podcast. So podcasts, I'm gonna say this, it's more of a reputation building piece. It's helpful, it's useful. It does not always produce clients. It's more of like a thing where, hey, you've done a lot with us, cool, here's a benefit, let's enjoy it together. And I was talking to another agency owner about this whole aspect. So yeah, keep your agency friends close, or even just your influential friends close, right? So we spoke about revenue models, how we're capturing those and allowing clients to learn about the workshopping. Here's an issue with AI. So it's kind of it is in a bubble, and also ChatGPT has been spending $1 trillion, but they're only making 20 billion. So what does that tell you? It tells you we're front running something that is not exactly sustainable. So just like in the AI boom, there's like the .com boom, and you guys know this because you've seen the articles, you see the job loss, you see different, over the top things that are happening. Yes, there's still application. There isn't fully agentic and that kind of stuff happening as of yet. So, if you're in the data center space or you're building things up, this is a great article on Medium by Eric Martin. The piece that I love the most in this article is that we are running out of data, and also that there's not really going to be this agentic pivot. You still have the human side of things that we have to go through and crank through. And even on the Tesla side and Elon Musk, he there's a whole thing about it isn't learning like further, and I think there's overinvestment, and we're starting to see that even in the markets recently. So like, I don't even know what the, let's just see what the S&P, see where it is now. S&P 500. Always invest for the long term, right? So we could kind of see like a curve out here. It's been straight up to the moon as we've gone. You know that there's always these curves and adjustments that are to come. So prepare your business wisely, have those revenue reserves, find the gaps, find the more inexpensive financing to sustain your company if it's got a good revenue model. Crank the revenue model. Approximately 50% of skilled trade workers in the US are over 50 years old and older. Young people, we need to get off these phones and stuff, right? Like, I'm a big advocate for technology, but when this happens, no. Like, we are in a place where it is so much better to be being paid for your skilled labor and for your time, whether that's, it could be, you know, on the plumbing side, the electrician, construction side. So there are these jobs available, and I know a lot of you guys will apply for the tech jobs, but even in my space, like, there's so much more I do outside of technology, and there's so much that provides value to like local clients. So, you know, keep that in mind. We don't have to keep up. Like, we just have to do and enjoy what's already working. Think about the layers. So it's like you have this building that has infrastructure, and now you've thrown something on top of it that's just trying to learn about the building, and or even like a street. This is the best way I could describe it on software. Is you had software engineering and coding, and then the streets work. They were programmed and controlled. Okay, it was all about controlling and making sure it works. Then AI is just like, oh, I can drive on the sidewalk. Oh, I could try to go through this way to get to the green light. Like, it's too fluid and not really controlled enough, basically. Yeah. So to wrap up, and AI slop, like you've all seen the videos, it's like really bad. Don't ruin your brand. Like, don't get sold into these guys who are like, oh, I'll make you AI videos, because they're being upsold, and then there's like this hype sell, and it's just like not the greatest. But you can rely on agencies like ours to kind of go through methods to make more user friendly generic videos. This is what's the new thing. So let me show you on my screen here. This is so good, so powerful. Is authentic. People want authentic stuff. They want, oh, like, hey, this is me, like, talk to me, right? We're kind of tired of the hype and tired of all that jazz. So these videos, I've done this with one of the clients, and the strategy is difficult because you're pouring into these creators, and you're using your ad money towards them promoting you. So the risk is that they promote you correctly. So, and they're not always going to promote you correctly. So you just got to be okay with that, and, you know, find the gap. So it's definitely a year of finding those gaps. For user generated content, then what's your third place? Like, this is key. So key. You can't just like veg out, right? Is that on the golf course? Are you taking your kids crafting at you know, Lowe's? Or are you getting out to the gym? Are you doing these extras to make yourself go that next mile and things like that? And do the research, and not be like ripped apart between like the news and things like that, and having that consistent time blocked schedule and framework really will get you to those places. Okay, the dichotomy of Colorado, this is something I've been thinking about a lot. Is in South Africa we have a lot of community living, and it works smoothly, beautifully, and things like that. This is kind of like a grinding piece in communities right now. Is you're seeing cost of living, you're seeing people can't buy or sell the current house they're in to get to the next place, and you're having to consolidate capital in all kinds of creative ways, and yeah, it just causes problems, you know. And you're having to maybe move in with family, or you're having to split costs and be smart. Don't be arrogant. If you need to consolidate a business, you need to find a way to make things work, do it in a sustainable manner. So I'm not the most like expert in this field, but I know that this can affect a lot of other things. And so we're seeing a lot of obviously people from California who move here, and then that creates its own dynamic. Now, what are we doubling down on for the years to come? And this is an exciting piece. So there's only so many of us, and even in my team, you hit these thresholds and these breaking points, but there's so much knowledge. And so I'm trying, and what I am doing is facilitating all of those knowledge pieces, building out modules. I'm going to be working even on like, there's some really cool government contracts. We have a partner who has done like 19 billion to help other companies get those types of contracts and things like that. So cheers to that. That's going to be exciting as we work on that. Always have that thing, right? Don't have these big experiments, and I've derailed some of my experiments, and it's have experiments that can pan out for you if you've put in enough of the work, and you can get, let's say, a state or federal government contract, or there's so many add-on things to your business. Like I see some guys go manufacturing routes, but then they also do oil and gas, having that strong authority. And what does that look like? It just looks like the ecosystem that we bring our clients, the connections, the referrals, the chances to meet with them, and then also like group sessions and sessions that people can all be a part of, and we can interact. It's not just me talking, and we process work orders in a certain way via email and texting and things like that. And there's definitely like price barriers, so be real with those with your clients, and be okay to say no and say yes to certain things, because that is business at its finest, is that negotiation, that demand level of what you're doing. So thanks again for watching. I appreciate all of you. It was a long-winded one. I don't think I missed anything other than if you're wanting to do an audit, you're wanting to look at your business a little deeper, we accept a certain minimum. So there's kind of like a high minimum for you, that for those of you who are going to get into the barrier of entry. But you can go and look at, especially if you're not a vendor, reach out to us, go to the website, and just like, I'm always willing to listen and hear someone's story, and then take it from there and say, hey, look, you're good for a workshop, or yes, let's do an audit, let's get you rolling, let's see if there's a revenue model that will work for you and for your business. Let's do some consulting and really put some like fluid, let's lubricate that engine, right? Like let's lubricate the engine and grow in the pieces that we need to, especially because I've run so many aspects of our business, even from the payroll to the getting financing to marketing our own stuff. It's all part of the game, and there's so much knowledge to be shared that goes beyond like ChatGPT and LLMs and stuff. Anyways, as always, cheers, Daniël-James. Don't forget to like, subscribe, especially because I'm wearing this ridiculous thing that I don't even want to wear. I'm gonna rip it off like right after this call. It's like coming off. Yeah, I do it for you guys. I'm learning with you, and as much as I talk a lot, I also listen a lot as well, and I try to keep an eye and an ear, like someone on the hockey field. What's coming? What's changing? How do we adapt this? Okay, this technology works here, it doesn't work there. So yeah, I'm always willing. And as always, guys, thank you so much. You know me, crazy breakdancing. We have a studio and stuff here in Greeley, Colorado. But shout out to all of you. Cheers, man. You got this. You can do it. Remember, stress is part of the game. It just makes you push through. We all have to have a little bit of that to move through the needle, to get to those clients, to do the difficult things. And so don't ever give up on that, because yeah, it's really like my faith drives the final aspects of everything that I do. I can't tell you, like I am so deeply rooted in that that keeps me alert, keeps me protected and focused. Cheers, cheers. Bye.